Good morning and welcome to CSL Denver, a place, a space, and a face of love. A spiritual community teaching ancient wisdom and utilizing universal principles to embody the intelligence of the divine and to empower our lives and the lives of others. First and foremost, I want to thank Gary Lynn Floyd for that song, Keep On Walking, because that is what required as we move into the theme for this month, which is the beloved community, everyday wonder of the community. And today we will look at this whole idea of a place to belong, a place to belong. Now, if we look around the world today and we look at all of the going ons, if you will, it is more evident than any other time that we need this idea of community and belonging more than any other. When we look at some of the acts and things that are going on within our neighborhoods or our families or the world at large, there is this tension that cries out that I want to belong. I want to be a part of something. I want to be looked at or viewed as a valuable participant in whatever is going on. And so today we want to look at this whole idea of belonging, and I want to turn this idea of a community on its head, so to speak. I want to look at the essence of what it is. Because the normal definition of community is a social unit or people living in an environment or in a place. And that's partly right. However, the essence of it is an invisible force that awakens and unleashes itself when it is needed. When something happens in the face of adversity, when there are jobs to be done, it is the collective intelligence, physical and spiritual attributes of the people that populate the place or the area or the family. So really a community is this inward feeling, this energetic feel that manifests itself in some kind of physical presence. It's not the place itself. It's not the group of people itself. It's the attitude. It's the insight. It's the work. It's the love that creates this thing called community. Thus, a community exists is not a place. It manifests itself in action, but it's not an action. It can come from a tribe of the sameness, but it is not necessarily the people or the sameness that matters. Community is a channel through which friends as well as foes are present. So when we think about this friend of foe, most people would say, well, why would I want a foe in my community, in my presence? But when we look at this statement from Reverend Jim Lockhart, he says, when we come into community, we are recognizing the soul's call to commune with others in actualizing more of our potential to love and to be of deep service to creation. To be of deep service to creation. Because you see, if everything is like me, I'm not going to learn much. And quite frankly, I might get sick of myself, or I might get sick of you if you just like me. Because, it might be fun for a while. But after a while, it's going to be, oh my God, we got to go through this again. I got to look. It looks just like me. They get mad at the same thing. We laugh at the same thing. It is the variety, the diversity, the inclusiveness that makes community, that really creates that energy that allows us to move about and be fulfilled, to be utilized. And it is in that container of community that this whole idea a place to belong emerges. Because it is a field of energy that we learn what this meaning is, right? It is an emotion beyond appearances. I'm going to say that again. It is emotion beyond appearances. When one feels understood, they feel needed and valued. When there is an interpersonal connection that is based on respect. That is based on respect. Today we have so much disrespect, whether it's in broadcast news, social media news, on the street corner, in the back room, wherever it is, it's prevalent everywhere. Because people, I would submit, don't feel a belonging. Everything is antagonistic. Now, we know tension of the opposites is a growth point. So we know it's not going to always be a bed of roses, right? We know there's going to be some changes that need to take place. And if I'm comfortable with where I am now, when you ask me to change, I'm going to say, I think not, right? Because I'm comfortable right here, right now. You want me to get out of my comfort zone. But if we look at life, from the conception to where we are now, there has been a constant change going on. And each time we move into change, we have to find a new sense of belonging. The way you felt belonging to a group or whatever when you were 6 is not what you did at 16 or 26. And so we understand that as all energy fields, they can tend to grow. And it's not just the people that make the community, it's every sentient thing in that community. It is the plants, it is the animals, it is the air itself that creates this community, that creates this environment, this field that allow us to feel like we belong. Because it is this expression of community that creates an inner space where not only the individual, but the community itself flourishes. It's that inner communication, that exchange. You ever had a friend or you ever been in a relationship where you finish each other's sentences? Where you've been around each other and you understand each other so well that you could finish their statements or they could finish your statements. There's a sense of belonging. There's a sense of living in a place where I feel welcome. I can let my own energy field move out and you can read that field, because at the essence of life, we can call it energy, we can call it Holy Spirit, we can call it many different names, but there is a connecting force that everyone is looking for, everyone is vying for. And it's just like air or food or water. You have to have it. There have been many studies of children who've grown up in somewhat isolation with no contact with others. No loving embrace, no kind words, no support, and no antagonism, right? And when they look at these individuals' development and growth, not only mentally, but physically, it is stunted. Because it is an exchange that needs to take place. It has to take place for us to live a wonderful communal life. And now what does that look like? Well, that communal life has all types of aspects. The first one is self-awareness. We have to be self-aware of who we are and where we are, what space we're in. I can't just say, I can't go in a crowded room and say fire. I'm not self-aware of that, right? We have to be self-aware. We have to show empathy. Everybody's at different levels or stages of growth. A big one, we have to be honest and have integrity, and that starts with self. That starts with self. Now, being honest doesn't mean you don't have some bugaboos. We all got bugaboos, but I need to be honest about my bugaboos, right? If I try to hide them, or if I try to act like I don't have them, everybody in the group is going to say, okay, I'm not taking that very seriously, because everybody has problems. Everybody has things they're looking to overcome, to grow beyond. And when we can be honest about that, we create an integrity within ourselves that allow us to say yes to life, to say yes to a community. It creates an environment for people to want to belong, who want to belong. And I think one of the most important things of belonging is a willingness to learn. Is a willingness to learn, because we have to learn each other. We have to learn myself, right? I'm not the same person I was yesterday. I was in a 5-hour meeting yesterday, and trust me, I am not the same person I was yesterday. But I am willing to learn from that experience and see how I can maneuver to make others feel better, to make me feel better, and to belong. And so we look at this idea of place to belong. I'm going to 3 points, 3 spiritual truths that are inherent in creating that environment. And that's one thing we're trying to do here at CSL Denver. And this one is this: we are like islands in the sea, separate on the surface, but connected in the deep. William James said that. Because that brings up, we have to be willing to challenge our core beliefs. We have this belief that we're separate, but at a deep level, under the ocean, where we can't see, we're all connected. And we know that everything in the universe is connected. Air is connected to water. Why? Because it's H2O, right? There's a connection. We know the plant is connected to the soil. And if we eat the plant, then the plant and the soil is connected to us. There is no separation. It is only an appearance when we step out of line of understanding what true community is. Dalai Lama said this: our ancient experience confirms at every point that everything is linked together. Everything is inseparable. It's inseparable, whether we realize it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not. And so our call for this month, as we move into the new year and looking to move beyond some of the things that are facing us, is we want to establish communities of belonging, not communities of location, not communities even of a faith tradition, because I can be a part of a faith tradition and still feel like I'm not a part of it. And what we want people to do is feel a part so they can actualize. So that's the first thing we need to do, is challenge your core beliefs to know that we are not separate. We are not separate. The second core truth is this: true belonging only happens when we present our authenticity, imperfect selves to the world. Our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. By Brene Brown. And if you know any of Brene Brown's work, she is looking at your core system there, trying to get you to be honest, to have some integrity, to know that we're always in an evolutionary process. So the magic word is be authentic. Be authentic. And that unfortunately requires some homework, right? Because we need to go and make sure we understand explicitly what it means to be authentic. And as she said, it means showing up with our flaws as well as our greatness. There's a saying that goes, there will always be someone who's greater or lesser than yourself. So don't get caught up in the superficial about somebody's better or so I'm better, and get a judgment or arrogance, because there will always be someone in a lesser or higher place than you. Your charge is to Bring forth your gifts. True belonging does not require that we change who we are. It requires that we be who we are. We're not asking you to change to belong. You know, you see these groups that they call cults, right? And everybody dressed alike and speak alike. That's not belonging. That's not a true essence of community, because it begins to deny my gifts, your gifts. And we need that to be present 100% of the time. Well, all right, 85% of the time. How about we go with 85% of the time? Because that's what's needed. And now the last thing that we need, and we really need to understand this in a world today where that first principle of inseparability is being violated, and that is just looking at separation. In the Bible, 1 Peter 4:10, it says, as each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. We all have a grace from God, a gift from God, a way of helping, a way of being present and presenting ourselves to the world, which creates diversity. Imagine going to a rainforest and you got all the same trees, one animal. Really ain't no rain. It's just like a little stream. The purpose of a rainforest, as an example of what diversity looks like, is that itself. Each thing supports each other. And the beauty of each thing is explored, is highlighted, is accentuated. So let's look at ourselves, if we will, like a rainforest. We'll take the snakes out. We'll take the poisonous snakes out. I know. Because they got so many things in that rainforest that is just insurmountable. And I want to bring up a old movie. If you haven't seen this movie, it's a Sean Connery movie called Medicine Man. And Sean Connery is going down to the Amazon looking for medical cures. And he's in a battle, if you will. He has a foe. I won't say enemy, he's a foe. Because they don't know what they're doing. They're destroying the rainforest. And he's found this plant that has a cure for cancer. But he has to rush against time because they're cutting down the trees and they're trying to make roads and they're doing all these things that are destroying the community. That connectedness, that interdependence between everything within that rainforest. And so let us look at ourselves in that way so that we begin to recognize and understand the diversity and honor the diversity and challenge it when necessary. No, we're not asking for passivity. We're asking for action, to be active in life, to be active in the community, so that sense of belonging means I have to be responsible. I have to be accountable. I have to be yielding. And so when we can move beyond our core beliefs, and when we can unconditionally look at our self-acceptance, and when we can really begin to practice the idea of diversity, the beloved community and the idea of belonging will manifest itself. You don't plant every day. You plant the plant in the right environment with the right ingredients and the right sunlight, and it takes care of itself after you give it the right environment. And that's what we need today. We need to create environments where people belong, where some of the things that are taking place don't happen. All of the shootings we've had. I mean, I heard something the other day. There's been 631 mass shootings this year. 631. And we're going to pray that no more come up, but we still got a few more days left before the year is over. So let us put our trust in a divine understanding, a wisdom that is present, that inherently creates a sense of belonging and community between all of us. And when we do that, we can move forward with this idea of love, as Al Green would say, love and happiness. And to do that, we have a call to action as always, because these are not just words to ponder and feel good. They are, but they also are looking to inspire us to do something, to have an action, to make a presence. And so when we look at the call to actions, there's two things. The first one, what do I need to have a sense of belonging? That's a question that we each must ask ourselves. And when you find that out, you have to let others know. It is not just a theoretical thought. It's a thought that you think about so that you can ask for what you need so that you can feel belonging, a sense of belonging. And then you ask the second question, what can I do to make others feel a sense of belonging? So right there, we got a conversation going. If this thing is working right, I have to ask you, you have to ask me, I have to tell you, you have to tell me. We have to begin to do this if we're going to create the beloved community, a sense of belonging. And so as we think about those today and the rest of the week, and even into the rest of the year, as we move into the holiday season, think about what that means. Because one thing we here at CSL Denver, we're taking that into the new year to a new level. As you heard the introduction that we were meeting on the first and third Sundays, we are now starting in January. We will be meeting every Sunday in this location for you to come and create a beloved community, for you to be involved. We got all kind of ideas and things that are being planned. We need your help. We need your support. And we want to create an environment that you feel a sense of belonging, a sense of where you can be valued. So please join us as we start the new year, begin to create a vision of a community, a place of belonging. And so with that, we want to bring up the affirmation for today. Wherever I go, I belong. Wherever I go, I belong. So with that, let's go into prayer. Heavenly Father, Mother God, that dual aspect of life that is the source of creation, that is the source of belonging, that is the source of the interconnection of all life. It is this understanding and it is this intelligence we rely on to guide us, to uphold us, to heal us when we are looking for a place to expand our horizon. And so as we begin to develop at a different level, this invisible sense of community, not bound by a location, not bound by some sense of sameness, but bound by the opportunities to share gifts, to inspire and encourage each other to grow, to be of service, not only to ourselves, but to mankind. So we gather here today, and we look forward to gathering every Sunday in January and the years going forward to create a place of love, of support, where you can express yourself. Because we know that there's no place where God is not, and there's nothing that is impossible with God. And so we know right here, right now, that every one of us that's here, that's online, and that will maybe hear this later, we declare that we are free from any impediments that will keep us from being our authentic self. Because no matter what we are, no matter who we are, we have unique gifts from the divine. And so it is in that idea of the gifts that we all bring together to make this beloved community a place of belonging that I give thanks. I give thanks knowing that whatever needs to be worked out will be worked out. Whatever needs to be healed will be healed. And each and every one of us will step forward with a smile and a gift. And so with that, I release these words into a law, a process that is automatic. It's like planting the seed, that we plant the seed, it will grow when we give it the right environment. And we know that this environment, the environment of the divine, is all there is. And so with that, I release, I go, and I know that this prayer is absolutely so. And so it is. Amen.